Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm joined here today by Lynn Croker, and she's a relationship coach. Lynn and I have known each other for ages, and so it's great to connect with you today, Lynn. And what motivated you to become a relationship coach?
Well, that's a good question, John. As you know, a bit of our history, because we've known each other for a while.
We have, yes.
I just look back at my life, and
Yeah.
I met my first husband when I was 17 years old. And so I had no idea about relationships. I had no idea how to communicate, how to be a partner, a good partner. And there was a lot I thought I needed to learn. I thought, because you know what it's like when you get in a relationship, you want to give it a go, the best go that you can.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to learn tools that could help me just make it as easy as possible. And over time, over the last, over 30 years now, I've been learning and growing about relationships and, as you know, parenting and lots of different areas, and learning about myself. I think that's the most important thing when you come into a relationship, is knowing yourself first, because if you don't know yourself, how can you get to know the other person? Don't you
Yeah,
think?
that's a good point. Yeah, it's a very good point. I think, you want to have an open mind, and one that's open to everything and closed to nothing, and that's challenged because we all have these subconscious rules that control our behaviors at different times, especially if we're under pressure or stress, or the wounded inner child comes out, or whatever it may be. And
Yep.
I know in your chapter, we're launching a book soon, Motivate Your Life. You talked about having that chat that you need to have, that discussion. Your husband, your first husband, was in the bath, and you came in the bathroom and had that chat. And it seems, since I've known you, that you've been open to those type of discussions, heart to heart, real, drop the mask, let's have a chat, what's really going on here.
Yeah.
Let's stop the BS and stop sweeping it under the mat. But I guess there was a time when that was really challenging for you.
Well, absolutely. And as you know, we don't get taught these communication skills in school.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times it's trial and error. We learn by our mistakes. And I've made a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I realized that I had to be open, and all the mistakes that I've made, I've learned from them, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's so painful breaking up in a relationship, especially one that you're so invested in. You may love the person and you've given your all, and then it doesn't work out, and the pain and suffering is so intense that, and having been through it myself, I thought, if I can minimize that or help people avoid that altogether, just by learning some basic, I call them foundational tools that can help a relationship when you're already in one, or help you understand before going into a relationship what you want, what's important, so that you minimize or eliminate these mistakes and this pain and unnecessary suffering.
So what would you say are the 3 common mistakes that people make when entering a new relationship?
Well, that's a good question. One, I think the first thing is they get into the wrong relationship.
Okay, so not values aligned.
Well, it's not just values, it's beliefs, it's
physical
mindset,
to begin with.
Core needs. It's a lot of things that, like, I'll give you a classic example.
Okay.
After I split from my first husband, I decided, okay, again, I needed to learn some lessons from that, work out what it is that I really wanted in a partner, what was important, and what was something that wasn't that important that I could compromise on. So the
Mm,
most important thing is I find that most people know what they don't want in a relationship,
right.
but they don't know what they do want.
Right.
Knowing what your values are. How can you say, oh, I
Yep.
want a partner that had these type of values, when if you don't know yours, it
Mm,
may not align.
what's important to you? Yeah. What sort of
Yeah,
rules do you have in a relationship, I guess, as well? Like
yeah,
what's a do's and what's a don't, what's a deal breaker? And yeah, get
yeah. And
clear on that.
so I realized that I wanted another partner. Well, I met my soulmate, thank goodness, but
Yeah.
it was because I learned more about me and understood me and what made me tick.
Yeah.
And then I realized I wrote a list of, and you may laugh, a lot of people laugh about this thing. This is a bit over the top, but I made a huge list. It was a long list of what
No, I
was
think that's
important to
great.
me.
I
Yeah,
think it's like setting clear intentions. I think there's
exactly.
a lot of intention deficit disorders going on. Like people have no intention of what they want for the day, a relationship, anything.
Yeah, well, I use the analogy when,
Yeah.
you want to go on a holiday
Yeah.
and you need to take a plane flight,
Hmm.
and you ring up the travel agent and you say, can you give me a flight?
Right.
And they go, well, where do you want to go? And you go,
Mystery
I don't know,
flight. Yeah.
anywhere. I mean, and that's how they get into relationships.
Yeah.
I know so many people that do that. And of course, if you get into the wrong relationship or get together with the wrong partner, it's doomed from the start. So
Yeah.
number one key is picking the right partner. And then the second one is having communication tools and conflict resolution tools. I mean, that's so critical, because we all know when we get emotional that logic drops, emotion comes up, and then we may say or do things that we will later regret.
Yeah. We're emotional beings, ruled by emotions for sure.
Absolutely.
So, what
So,
are some of the tools? I'm curious. Uh,
okay. Well, for
conflict
example,
resolution tools. It sounds fantastic.
yeah, well, there's a heap of things that my husband and I do,
Okay.
and it just works so well. And I must
Okay.
admit, men, I have found in my experience a little bit hesitant when I first talked about doing these things.
Yeah.
My husband was a bit hesitant, but he was open to it. And now
Okay.
it's really enriched our relationship, and we
Wow.
both feel seen, we
Mm,
both feel heard,
hmm.
we feel connected. And one of them is I call the talking stick. Have you heard of that?
I have to, yeah. So basically, you've got the stick, the other person has to listen. And then it's when you've done, then you pass them the stick, and then it's their turn to talk. But you
Yeah,
can only talk if you've got the stick. That's the rules that I
absolutely.
know of.
That's
Yeah.
that's one component of it, but there's
Yeah.
other components.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
what you say when you have that stick is really important, how you say it.
No swearing. Okay.
If you've got the talking stick and you say to your partner, well, you did this, this, and this, and this.
And then there's three fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah, it's that blame.
Yeah, true. Well, that's so
Okay.
easy to do. Yeah.
It's so easy to do when we
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 all do
don't.
it at different times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
we don't have those foundational tools
Yeah.
to go, okay, this is what's first, to be aware, self-aware that this is coming up for me. I've been triggered. Why have I been triggered? And then, okay, how am I going to address this first with me? And then how am I going to address it with my partner?
Okay.
And that's where how to communicate this to a partner
Mm-hmm.
in a way that they don't feel like you're blaming them and they can't do
Mm.
anything right, and it just makes it worse.
So is there a certain language that you use when you're holding the stick? So you can't say you use I statements. Is that it? Or
Yeah, that's one aspect
okay.
to it. Yeah, I feel
I
is
feel that's right. Yeah. I've done this before. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
When you do this, I feel da 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 da.
yeah. So the
Something like
key
that.
here though is we may have, like you said, you've heard of this before.
I've actually
Okay.
done it. No, I've actually done it. I did it in Phoenix, Arizona. There was a circle. I don't know if you know Gabriella Del Dilio. We collaborated on In Search of Happiness in Journey Rich's series. But we were at her place, and so she created this game, and part of that is the talking stick. And then you have to say, it was back in like 2017, so a long time ago. And then the last time I played it before then was in Bali. I was working for a personal development company running NLP trainings. And the talking stick was one of the things, and we had to use I feel statements. That was back in 2013. So yeah, I've done it twice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
long
key
time in
though
between
is,
sessions.
look, it's a fantastic tool,
Yeah,
but people don't realize that
yeah,
it's one thing to do a course
yeah,
or learn the tools,
yeah.
and then it's another thing that when you're in an emotional state
Yeah, well,
and you do this with your
we were
partner.
living and working together. So there was a lot of emotion that builds up, I can tell you. When you're working with a team 12 hours a day, and then you're eating together, you're sleeping, close quarters, you're 24/7 nearby. There's a lot of like tension builds up between people. And so, yeah, we had some pretty epic sessions with the
And so
talking.
how did you find it then? Was it a good tool?
Yeah, it's excellent. It's really good for resolving stuff. The people you feel seen and heard. I don't know if everyone feels like they get like a result, but at least they get seen and they can say their piece. They might not be happy with the outcome. That was certainly our experience. We're talking like 25 people, not just 25 people in a circle. And so, yeah, some tensions sort of go and they're not really resolved, but that it does simmer back down a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was enough to keep the wheels turning and for people to be respectful, even though
Yeah.
they might not see eye to eye and they might not be happy with the outcome. Maybe they wanted some justice or something, but who
Yeah. Well, everyone's
knows?
different, as you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some vindictive people out there. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I think people are mostly good. Just sometimes, some people have more unresolved issues than others, and it
Absolutely. And
triggers it.
it's a multifaceted relationships brings up all our triggers
Yeah.
and all our wounds. And so just to me, I found for me and my clients,
Okay.
having these basic foundational tools, it just really helps both partners because it's a
Yeah.
win-win.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
partners feel connected, loved and appreciated, seen and heard. And as you
Especially when you're
know,
in an intimate relationship. I think that's a
absolutely. And
little
as you
bit
know,
different. Yeah.
often what happens is the longer you're in a relationship, the more we get complacent with these things. And it's like anything. If you want good results, it's like working out. If you want to build muscle or lose weight, you have to work out every day. You have to do something. You can't just expect once a month and I'll have these big muscles or I'll have these great abs. And same in relationships. You have to work at it every day.
Yeah.
If you're in a partnership where you want to take your partnership or relationship to the next level. And a
Yeah.
lot of people go, yeah, my relationship's okay. Oh, it's good. But it can be so much better. It can be fantastic. It can be awesome. It can be amazing, which is what I have with my husband.
Yeah. You guys have a strong
Work at
communicative
it every
relationship.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's really inspiring, Ling. That's great. And so, what was the biggest hurdle to creating that with your current with your soulmate?
Well, firstly, making sure that I picked the right person.
Yeah, no, I think you. It sounds like you did a lot of list box ticking. So, yeah, he passed
Yeah.
the test, I think. So,
Well, I've been in relationships and we've all done it where we've got in it and went, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is
yeah,
going nowhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I just want to be able to, because my husband and I often say when we're talking, if we could just bottle what we have,
yeah,
we would be millionaires because the feeling, the energy, the connection is just so amazing.
Yeah.
And everyone can have that if they
Yeah.
just have the basic tools to help them
Yeah.
get them in that position.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, and everyone should strive to do that. So, how can people work with you?
Okay, well, if people want to know more about where they're at in their relationship, if they're not quite sure what to work on,
Uh-huh.
I have a relationship checklist, and
Uh-huh.
we'll put the link below where they can
Yeah.
click on that and
Okay.
just get a better picture
Yeah.
of where they feel their relationships at and what they need to work on.
Yeah.
And also, I'll put a link below that if they want to just have a chat to me to find out what's going on for them
Yeah.
and what they need to do, or what areas that they feel they need to work on or want to work on, and
Yeah.
how to do that. So a free 30-minute session, we can
Okay.
have a chat. I'll put the link below for that as well. Otherwise, they can find me on Facebook. My
Yeah.
tagline is Superwoman versus Real Woman.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the same,
Okay,
or
great.
Link Proker.
And
And
also, they can
YouTube.
read your chapter in our soon-to-be-released book. It's going to be launching next month, August. And what can people expect from readers expect from your chapter in our book?
That's a great question. I think for the chapter, and first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to work with you again.
Oh, it's awesome to collaborate
In
with
the,
you. Yeah, I like your style, and it's you don't mess about. There's no BS. You're a straight shooter, and yeah, but you're also very compassionate. But I like how you're direct. You don't complicate things. You know,
well,
it's
thank
pretty
you. Yeah,
simple, and I
thank you.
think
I'm
that
not for everyone. I
yeah,
mean, there's a lot of coaches out there that,
yeah,
you've got to find the right coach for you or the
yeah,
right
sure,
mentor.
of course, yeah,
And often people say that, my clients say that I I give them a kick up the bum with a soft shoe. So
uh,
I don't fluff,
you definitely don't
um,
fluff around.
I
No, you
don't
go
fluff
straight to the
around.
point. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, I
awesome. And I
tell
think
people
people
what they
appreciate
need.
that. Well, it's just it's just being respectful, I think, and
Well,
you're
that's
being of
right. And not
service.
only that,
Yeah,
people want results. So what's the
yeah,
point of me telling you what you want to hear when it's
yeah,
not necessarily what you need to hear
yeah. No,
to
that's
move
right.
forward and
Yeah,
overcome the challenges you're having?
yes. Yeah, I liked your chapter because it's vulnerable. You share about your journey and the challenges that you have, and it's just beautiful the way that you just share that. And you're just so honest, and I think that's be very relatable for a lot of women, and maybe some men as well that have been in that position of wanting just to figure, not confront the situation head in the sand. Um, yeah, it's a fantastic read. I know that they'll get a lot of value from it. It's very relatable, and there's also some really good. You give some great tips that they can put in practice into their relationship right now, and it's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you. I think that's important. We need
yeah,
tools that we can implement immediately
yeah,
because,
very
our
generous.
human,
It's like you're not holding anything back. It's not like
yeah,
you're not like
yeah,
teasing and just giving little tidbits. You're like just lay it out, and this is what's worked for me, and try these tools.
yeah, yeah. And
Fantastic.
hopefully it works to some degree for some people,
Yeah.
and it changes their relationship or saves. I know I
Yeah.
have saved many marriages
Yeah.
by some of the tools that they've learnt.
Yeah.
And that's the key, because we all know that when a relationship breaks down, not only is it a lot of pain, it can be a very costly
Mm.
thing,
Oh yeah.
and emotionally, mentally, if you have kids.
Yeah.
So if we can, if a relationship's not going well, that it affects every area. It affects your work.
Yes. Yeah.
It affects every aspect. So if people can save their relationships, save their marriages,
Yeah.
then that not only helps them, it
Yeah.
helps their family, it helps their community, it helps everyone around them.
Yeah, the synergy. I mean, my grandparents, I was just in Sydney, as you know, and celebrating my grandparents' 90th birthday. They both turned 90
Yeah.
2 months apart, and they've been together for, I mean, almost 60 years. They're never married, but they just formed a solid partnership, and they're just like, and yeah, I mean, they're both 90. They're very independent. And they still live at home in Lithgow in the Blue Mountains, and yeah, it's very inspiring to see. I mean, they still have like little bickering and things like that, but yeah, they resolve it in their own way. It's quite funny. So
I hope you wrote down some of their little secrets of their success.
yeah, no, I didn't, but it's ingrained, because when you're around, and they had like a big part of my upbringing. And so they used to have a farm, like cattle station. And so we spent a lot of time there. We lived there for a period of time when my parents got divorced. And so they had a lot of involvement in my upbringing. So yeah, like it's just conditioned in who I am in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, it's the freedom to choose. Not everyone wants to be in a relationship. There's a lot of freedom when you're not in a relationship. But I think there's also great synergy when you are in an awesome relationship. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's definitely worthwhile. And I loved your chapter, and I know that you're just helping so many women out there and saving marriages. And it's just such a good thing if you create a solid relationship. Don't throw it away. It's always worth rescuing, and think of your children, and there's so many things that you can lose, as you mentioned. And so, I hope people take heart from that and summon the courage. It's not easy to look in, and especially if you've played a big part, with a wheel coming off or a spoke going missing or whatever, you know what I mean, as an analogy. And so that's why working with someone like you that, has been there and facilitates it and diffuses the emotion, you know what I mean? Because it can build up a charge between two people. And so when you've got a third party that can diffuse the situation because you don't have any emotional attachment and you're being professionally trained. So
yeah. And I agree with what you said.
yeah.
The key with what you said a minute ago is that it's about being in the right relationship.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been together for like 20 years, I mean, maybe it's not the relationship, but if you've been going for that long, chances are that you do have a lot of common ground, and you can find some common ground in there. But yeah, I just lived through it from, like, I've seen my mum's on her third marriage and my dad's on his third marriage, and they're now with their partner they'll spend the rest of their life with. But I've seen a lot of like what works and what doesn't work in a relationship. And yeah, and then from my own experience as well. And so you really need to be ready. And so yeah, it's awesome what you're doing.
So if anyone wants to contact me, they can read the book when it comes out.
Yeah.
Journey of Riches. Wounds. What is it? Wisdom to Wounds?
No, Motivate Your Life. I think you're in Wounds to Wisdom. You're in Wounds to Wisdom. We've got so many books going.
Yeah.
So many books going on at the moment. Oh my God. Yeah, actually that book is going to be released in October. So yeah.
Great.
We've got a one before that. It's called Motivate Your Life. But the one Lynn and I is working on. Yeah, I read your chapter recently. That's right. I think we're still just finishing the editing stage. Yeah, Wounds to Wisdom. Yeah. I mean, that's just a fantastic title.
So either contact me below on the link below download the relationship checklist, or contact me for a free chat, or just follow me on Facebook, Superwoman versus Real Woman, or LinkedIn, YouTube. So check out those things and get some free tools to help you.
Yeah, awesome. Great. Well, great for spending time with me today, Lynn. It's always awesome to catch up with you, and looking forward to our look launch. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me, John.
It's a pleasure.